Think for a moment about your morning, the cotton in your sheets, the coffee beans for your drink, the wood of your table. Each of these things comes from a living source, a single thread in an immense interconnected web. This intricate tapestry of life is what we call biodiversity. It is the astonishing variety of all living things on our planet, from the smallest unseen microbe in the soil to the magnificent blue whale that roams the vast oceans. It is the multitude of plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms all interacting, all dependent on one another in a delicate, beautiful balance that has been evolving for millions of years. It is a world of endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful. Biodiversity is not simply a long list of species, it is about the richness within those species, the genetic differences between one tiger and another, or one oak tree and its neighbor. It is also about the variety of ecosystems they inhabit, from the sun-drenched coral reefs teeming with colorful fish to the dense, humid rainforests that act as the lungs of our world. Every swamp, every desert, every mountain meadow is a unique community of life, a distinct chapter in the grand story of our planet. When we speak of biodiversity, we are speaking of the entire living, breathing world in all its complexity and wonder. It is the very engine of life itself, a system that sustains us all. Understanding this concept is the first step towards appreciating what we stand to lose. Biodiversity conservation is, quite simply, the act of protecting and preserving this variety of life. It is a human endeavor born from the recognition that our own survival is inextricably linked to the health of the natural world. It involves making conscious decisions to protect species from extinction, to safeguard their habitats from destruction, and to ensure that the natural processes that support all life can continue to function. It is a promise we make to the future, a commitment to steward the incredible legacy we have inherited. This is not a task for a few scientists or governments alone, it is a responsibility for all of humanity. Imagine a grand orchestra where each instrument plays a vital part in a beautiful symphony. If you start removing instruments one by one, the violin, the cello, the flute, the music becomes weaker, less harmonious, and eventually collapses into silence. The same is true for our planet. Every time a species vanishes, a note is lost from the symphony of life. A forest cleared is like a whole section of the orchestra being silenced. Conservation is our attempt to keep the music playing, to ensure that the rich, complex and beautiful sound of a healthy planet can be heard by generations long after we are gone. It is about keeping our world whole. The importance of biodiversity extends far beyond its inherent beauty. It is the very foundation of our existence. Consider the food we eat. The vast majority of our crops, from wheat and rice to fruits and vegetables, were originally domesticated from wild plants. This genetic diversity is a living library from which we can draw to create new crop varieties that are more resistant to disease, pests, and the changing climate. The pollinators, like bees and butterflies, that are essential for growing so much of our food are themselves a critical part of this biodiversity. Without this rich variety, our food systems would be fragile and vulnerable, threatening the sustenance of billions of people across the globe. The natural world is also our greatest pharmacy. For millennia, human cultures have turned to plants and animals for remedies and cures. A significant portion of modern medicines, including aspirin and many cancer treatments, originate from natural compounds found in the wild. The venom of a corn snail contains compounds that have led to powerful new painkillers. The rosy periwinkle from Madagascar provides drugs crucial for fighting childhood leukemia. Every time we lose a species, we might be losing the key to curing a future disease. Protecting biodiversity is therefore an investment in our own health and well-being, a way of preserving a treasure trove of potential medical breakthroughs. Furthermore, a biodiverse planet is our best ally against climate change. Healthy ecosystems such as forests and oceans absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to regulate the global climate. Mangrove forests and coral reefs act as natural barriers, protecting coastal communities from storms and rising sea levels. And floodplains can soak up excess rainwater, preventing devastating floods. When we destroy these habitats, we not only release stored carbon, but also dismantle the very systems that protect us from the worst impacts of a warming world. Protecting and restoring nature is one of the most effective climate solutions we have. Beyond these practical benefits, biodiversity enriches our lives in countless cultural and spiritual ways. For communities around the world, nature is intertwined with identity, art, and tradition. Mountains, rivers, and sacred groves are places of worship and reflection. The sight of a soaring eagle or the sound of a whale song can inspire awe and a profound sense of connection to something larger than ourselves. This connection is fundamental to the human spirit. Losing biodiversity means losing a part of our own humanity, erasing the stories, inspiration, and wisdom that the natural world provides. It impoverishes us all in ways that cannot be measured in money alone. To safeguard our planet's precious biodiversity, we employ two main strategies, which can be thought of as two kinds of sanctuaries. The first and most important is called in situ conservation. This simply means protecting species right where they live, in their natural homes. This is done by creating protected areas like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves. In these places, habitats are preserved and human activities are managed to ensure that ecosystems can thrive. India's Project Tiger, for instance, is a world-renowned example of in situ conservation. By protecting large swathes of forest for tigers, we also protect countless other species that share the same habitat, from deer and wild boar to rare birds and insects. This approach is considered the best because it preserves not just the species itself, but the entire ecological community and the evolutionary processes that sustain it. When an animal is protected in its natural environment, it continues to play its role in the ecosystem as a predator, a pollinator, or a seed disperser. In situ conservation recognizes that no species lives in isolation. The great national parks of Africa, like the Serengeti, or the vast marine protected areas in the Pacific Ocean, are all monuments to this holistic vision. They are living laboratories where the intricate dance of life can continue, largely undisturbed by the pressures of the outside world. However, sometimes a species is so endangered that it can no longer survive in the wild. This is where the second strategy, ex situ conservation, comes into play. This means protecting a species outside of its natural habitat. This is a measure of last resort, an emergency intervention to save a species from imminent extinction. Botanical gardens, seed banks, and zoos are the primary tools of ex situ conservation. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault in Norway, for example, is a fortress designed to store seeds from the world's crop varieties, safeguarding our agricultural heritage against any future catastrophe. It is a backup drive for the world's food supply. Zoos and captive breeding programs also play a critical role. Species like the California condor and the black-footed ferret were brought back from the very brink of extinction through careful breeding in captivity, followed by reintroduction back into protected wild areas. In India, similar efforts have been crucial for species like the gharial, a type of crocodile. While ex situ conservation can never replace the richness of a natural habitat, it serves as a vital lifeboat. It buys us precious time, preserving the genetic material of a species until, hopefully, its wild home can be restored and it can one day return. Together, these two strategies form a powerful defense against the loss of biodiversity. Despite our best efforts, the challenges facing biodiversity are immense and growing. The single greatest threat is habitat loss, driven by the expansion of agriculture, cities, and infrastructure. Forests are cleared for farmland, wetlands are drained for development, and rivers are dammed for power. This destruction tears the web of life apart, leaving species with nowhere to live, breed, or find food. Alongside this, pollution poisons our air, water, and soil, while the introduction of invasive species can outcompete and overwhelm native wildlife. These pressures are pushing countless species towards the edge of existence at a rate never before seen in human history. Compounding these threats is the overarching challenge of climate change. As the planet warms, it alters habitats faster than many species can adapt. Coral reefs are bleaching and dying in warmer oceans, polar bears are losing the sea ice they depend on for hunting, and many plants and animals are being forced to move to cooler areas if they can. Climate change acts as a threat multiplier, exacerbating all the other pressures on our natural world. It is a global force that respects no borders, demanding a unified global response. We are in a critical moment, a race against time to slow these destructive forces. Yet there is hope. The solutions are within our grasp, and they begin with people. Community conservation, where local and indigenous communities are empowered to manage their own natural resources, has proven to be one of the most effective approaches. These communities possess generations of traditional knowledge and have the greatest stake in the long-term health of their environment. Education is also vital. By fostering a love and understanding of the natural world in young people, we are nurturing the next generation of conservationists, and our own daily choices matter. By choosing sustainable products, reducing our consumption, and supporting businesses that prioritize the planet, we can collectively drive change. Ultimately, protecting biodiversity is not a choice, it is a necessity. It is a moral obligation to the other living beings with whom we share this planet, and a practical necessity for our own survival and prosperity. The health of humanity is woven into the health of our world. We have a brief window of opportunity to mend the tears in the web of life, to restore what has been lost, and to forge a new relationship with nature, one based on respect, stewardship, and wisdom. The future of our remarkable planet, with all its beautiful and wonderful forms, depends on the actions we take today. We must act now, for ourselves and for all who are to come.